HSE Leaders Connect. This is our launch event, this is our inaugural event. We're very excited to be here, especially in London's living room.
I think one of the areas of peak surprise to me was when we're doing a tiny little project that you might have heard about in Cupertino, in California. And one would expect that the safety standards out there would be far in excess of maybe some of the stuff that we do within the UK. It surprised me to hear that actually the workers, the construction workers out there, get danger money for working on site. And it is not in their interests to increase the health and safety standards on site beyond a certain level, because then their payments start going down.
The next tangible thing that we did was about creating common identity, and that was around creating this entity that we refer to as Team Crossrail, and giving that a set of values, a set of a vision and a mission and a brand and all of that good stuff. And the idea was that this wasn't for people who were working for Crossrail, this was for people who were working on Crossrail. So the idea being that as soon as you put your foot over the threshold of one of our sites or workplaces, that you were game on, this stuff applied to you. In terms of creating that overarching purpose around safety, it was about creating an environment that empowered people and actually challenged people to be open and honest. So to deliver their integrity and their honour whilst recognising that they had to stretch performance standards.
Should the board be bonus or incentivised for health and safety? I think they would be horrified at that suggestion. Not because they think that health and safety is a bad idea, because they would be horrified if anything happened to any of their people because they care so deeply. What I would worry about is, would it lead to some unintended consequences? Because with any reward structure, we already talked about what happens in states with danger money. Those are the unintended consequences of reward, and does it lead to a tick box mentality? And I think it's a deeper subject.
So I think more and more we're thinking about the person as a whole and how can they be as productive as possible. I have a friend who lives in Sweden whose sort of lifestyle is takes the kids to school, goes to work, picks up the kids, has dinner with her family, then does kind of more work. And I think we're moving more and more towards what's your lifestyle, how can we support it so that we can manage our talent, keep our talent, keep you working with us, but being very productive. And I think it's more and more about how flexible we can be and how we help people to kind of be themselves, stay well, be resilient, and get the most out of them. Because
fatigue management, or kind of work management, needs to recognise people's right to a life, needs to be effective for the organisation, and needs to protect people.
Continuous way that the profession looks at itself and questions itself in these kind of events this evening is particularly inspiring in terms of, how do we do it, and the movement into well-being and the mental space. I think actually if you sort of look at how far we've come over since, the 60s and the 70s and how things have actually improved, then that now we're talking about more about mental well-being and moving it into a whole different strategic agenda.